Hi everyone, Aguinaga here from LJ Realties, and today I'm accompanied by
David Leblanc.
So today we're going to talk about real estate investing, which is something that really hits close to home for me because I would say that that's where I've generated 95% of my wealth. My plan is to obviously retire on my portfolio of real estate. Because I'm not an employee of the company, I don't have RSP contributions. I have not really partaken in pension plans and whatnot. So to me, it's build a real estate portfolio, which is what's going to become my retirement plan essentially. So because of that, I like to transfer as much knowledge about that as possible to everybody out there who wants to listen. And David has kind of taken it upon himself to do a lot of the same things. He's really taken a high liking to the investing side, the Excel breakdown, optimization, renovation costs, potential tenant payoffs, everything that has to do with an actual execution of a real estate project. And because of that, he's really stepping up and speaking to a lot of our clients right now, sending potential properties and doing all that. So with that in mind, let's talk about the different types of real estate investing and how this works. So let's begin with the simple cash flowing property. We buy a property today, it's already making some money, there's really nothing to do to it, we're just gonna put the 20% down and let it continue to do its thing and have the appreciation happen year after year, as well as the mortgage pay down, so the capital pay down happening with a little bit of cash flow, which will be there to service any potential repairs, maintenance, etc. That is the simplest solution, and that's what a lot of people who are not full-time real estate investors look for because they already have their full-time job, they're already busy with everything else going on, they want something that's kind of plug and play. That's great, that's simple, it's easy. However, we've obviously seen that the greatest returns and the greatest margins are on things that require a little bit more work because you get paid for that additional work that you put into it. So then you have investors say, hey LJ, I want something that's gonna be a little bit more work, but I don't really have time to source it, to search for it. I would really appreciate guidance with that. And that's what I'd say I definitely spent a lot of the last kind of 4 years working on while I was taking clients through like, hey, look at this is what I think we can do with it. So let's start talking about that a little bit, David. So what do you do in that case?
Well, it's just an interesting subject to touch on because a lot of people think that you only really use a real estate broker when you've found a property and now it's time to go buy it. But kind of as you were alluding to, the entire breakdown process for investment properties is very important. And it's very important more so just so you don't waste your time. Like we were kind of saying, most people don't have time to become full-time real estate investors. They have a day job that produces money for them. They spend their time doing that. They spend their time with their families, and they would like someone to help them get started or manage their real estate portfolio. And that's really what we're here to do. So a lot of the things that we'll do for people is, like you were saying, break down the properties depending on the criteria that you have for your own investment. And then we can go a step further. If we're looking at a property that requires more work, we can offer property management for that. We can coordinate with contractors and different people who can do the work for you. As well as the most important thing in my opinion, which is renting those properties out afterwards. I think a lot of people focus on the purchase, but for us, the most important part of the purchase is the cash flow. What kind of value are we either going to create with the building by either having increased rents or more stable tenants with less vacancy? How much value are we creating for that building that we can then refinance and pull out? Or if we're just looking to sit on it, how much peace of mind can we create for our clients by signing long-term tenants, by signing people who have a good rental history, who have solid jobs, who they won't have to worry about their investment and, like you said, can just kind of sit back and reap the benefits of the appreciation.
So we're talking about that essentially. What it comes down to is we're really looking at the BRRRR strategy. And most people have heard about the BRRRR. I've done a couple of videos on it, and everyone kind of says like, oh yeah, that sounds great. That's exactly what I want. But where do I get started? And you get started by calling us and saying, look, we have this much of a budget. This is what I have available as a down payment, potential renovations, as well as tenant payoffs, whatever it might be. This is the amount of money that I have to work with. And then we basically work backwards with that. Okay, with that money, we're looking at a price range between this and that. But these properties, we have to know, do we need 25,000, 75,000? What do we need in terms of the renovation budget? Are the tenants currently really underpaying for these properties? Is everything already kind of stabilized? And we're gonna pitch you a plan like, hey, we saw these 3 properties. We like them because of these reasons. We think that they could even be better because of these reasons. And this is something that could be turned around in 6 months to a year, or maybe over the course of the next 5 years as people naturally kind of turn over because they're smaller units that are obviously gonna leave because people want to start families or whatever. So it's kind of taking you through the game plan of these properties and really executing the BRRRR strategy with us by your sides.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it even gets even a little bit deeper than that in the sense of when we're looking at a property that's going to work for a BRRRR, they're usually diamonds in the rough. They're not properties that you would easily find. They're listed a certain way. The rents are presented in a certain way. And so sometimes it does take a lot of time to find these types of properties that really make sense. And to have the ability and, again, the time to break them down in a sense that makes sense and make projections. And realistically, again, I really think it boils down to making sure people understand what a real estate team should be doing for them and what their previous experience has been with other real estate agents. What we pride ourselves on here is when you come to us, we are working for you from the second that we meet you, whether you're planning on purchasing a property 6 months from now, 2 years from now. There is work to be done that we can do on our end, and it's something that we pride ourselves on is taking care of our clients from the beginning to the end and making it as easy a process for you as you can, because you're busy with your job, making your money to invest it. We don't want to take time away from your life, from your work, in order to say, oh, well, hey, let's go look at 45 properties because we haven't really narrowed down what we're looking for. That's where we like to take the reins a little bit and kind of help educate you and focus you in on a certain area or a certain type of property, just so that we can be a little bit more efficient with what we're doing.
To wrap up, I think what's really important is the fact that a lot of people can talk the talk, but if you haven't walked the walk, it's a little bit difficult to put yourself into certain situations and give proper advice. So by having a multitude of properties in my ownership, in our portfolio of management, we've dealt with a lot of issues. And because of that, we actually know what the solutions are, what are the right steps to take in order to solve the problems. And that's why we feel so confident passing this information along. So thank you so much for watching. David, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Look forward to seeing you next week.